Good morning, friends. This is Chris. I'm from Transformation Nation Yoga and Wellness. And today, what I have in mind for you is a fire in wood yin practice. So, we'll have a yin practice that lengthens and triggers meridian points along heart, small intestine, and gallbladder meridians. So, have you start in a comfortable seated position? Find a seat that you're going to be able to sustain from some time. And we'll begin with a reading from the Bhagavad Gita. So this comes from chapter 4, the Yoga of Wisdom, where we have a little bit more dialogue between Krishna and our protagonist, Arjuna, and we learn more about Krishna's nature. The Blessed Lord said, I taught this imperishable doctrine to Vivaswat, god of the sun, more than 100 billion years ago. Vivaswat told it to Manu, father of humans, Manu to King Ishvaku. Transmitted from one generation to the next, it was known for eons. To all the primeval wise men, the seers, and philosopher kings, but over the dwindling ages, the doctrine has been lost, Arjuna. This is the ancient doctrine that I've taught you today, since you are my devotee and friend. This is the innermost doctrine. Arjuna said, but you were born countless eons later than the god of the sun. How then is it possible that you taught this doctrine to him? The Blessed Lord said, many times I've been born, and many times you have also. All these lives I remember, you recall only this one. Although I am unborn, deathless, the infinite Lord of all beings, through my own wondrous power, I come into finite form. Whenever righteousness falters and chaos threatens to prevail, I take on a human body and manifest myself on earth in order to protect the good, to destroy the doers of evil, to ensure the triumph of righteousness in every age I am born. Whoever knows profoundly my divine presence on earth is not reborn when he leaves the body, but comes to me. Released from greed, fear, anger, absorbed in me and made pure by the practice of wisdom, many have attained my own state of being. However men try to reach me, I return their love with my love. Whatever path they may travel, it leads to me in the end. Wishing success in their actions, men sacrifice to the gods, but ritual can bring success quickly in the world of men. I founded the forecast system with the gunas appropriate to each. Although I did this, know that I am the eternal non-doer. Actions cannot defile me, since I am indifferent to results. All those who understand this will not be bound by their actions. This is how actions were done by the ancient seekers of freedom. Follow their example, act, surrendering the fruits of action. And we'll resume next week with more of chapter 4. So from the seat, lengthen the spinal column a little bit more. So press down into the seat, grow out of the crown of your head. Then take your right hand to the top of your head so the fingers fold over just to the top of the left ear. Inhale right here. Exhale, fold your right ear down to your right shoulder. And stay right here, or maybe a little cycling. Each inhale, dip the chin just below the horizon. Each exhale, lift the chin just above the horizon line. Come back to stillness again. Draw the crown of your head back up to center. Drop that right thumb into your shoulder blade, in between where the soft tissue meets the shoulder blade. Left hand to the crown of your head. Inhale, lengthen along the whole spinal column again. Exhale, fold your chin down towards your left shoulder. Draw the crown of your head up to center again. You can release your right hand into your lap. Shift your left hand so it's at the top of your head, and now the fingers are just barely folded over the top of that right ear. Inhale for length. Exhale, fold your left ear towards your left shoulder, and stay right here, or find a little bit of gentle cycling movement. Come back to stillness. Lift the crown of the head back up to center. Release left thumb to the top of the shoulder. Find that space again where soft tissue meets the shoulder blade. Right hand to the crown of your head. Right elbow points forward. Inhale, length. Exhale, chin toward your right shoulder. Crown of your head back up to center. And then from here, goalpost the arms out to the side. Make a little fist. On an inhale breath, draw your shoulder blades together like you were holding a broomstick between them. Lift the chin up toward the stars. Exhale, bring your hands, wrists, forearms, maybe even elbows together. Release your chin into your chest, round through your shoulders. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, round through the shoulders. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, round through the shoulders. Inhale, come back to goalpost arms. Time to turn the hands up and out. Draw the shoulder blades slightly together. Lift the gaze and just hold right here. Start to slowly release your arms. And I'd like you to make your way onto your belly. Grab a block. We're going to start with Sphinx pose. In a block, if you would, to start, place it in between the wrists, maybe at the highest height for now. Float your shoulders over your elbows. Lengthen your legs long, and then sleepy with the legs. Tamasic energy in the legs and feet. Totally disengaged. Soft belly, relaxed back. And then anything that you don't need to keep your shoulders floating over your wrists, relax that too. Maybe releasing your forehead down to the block and slumping a little bit in between the shoulders. Keeping in mind that our goal here is to ride a threshold of sensation between discomfort and pain. So starting between a 4 to 6 on a continuum of sensation from 0 to 10. check in and notice where's your body at right now, and did you open up some space here? If the answer is no, that's fine. Stay right here. If it's yes, and your body wants more, you take your hands out wider. Maybe transition to seal pose, pressing into the heels of the hands, lifting the elbows. And I'm good right here, but if you wanted even more sensation, walk the heels of your hands closer in towards your waist. And notice too, if you clamped up in the seat again, see if you can relax there. Notice if you tightened up in the jaw with a flesh around your eyes or your forehead. So typically in yin, we don't cue for any kind of specific breath, right? It could be a light ujjayi breath. It could also be a comfortable natural breath. And again, that sensation is discomfort, but not quite pain. So I've been kind of experimenting with my yin practice based on another experience. And there's an opportunity to try that on if you'd like when we get into the next pose. Right, so first of all, if you transition from Sphinx into Seal, lower your forearms back down to the earth. Maybe remove the block. And then come all the way down onto your belly. Maybe reach that right arm long. Tee that right arm out to the side. Then the left hand under your left shoulder. Start pressing into your left hand. Lift your left shoulder. Maybe float the left shoulder over your right. Now, I don't have that kind of torso or shoulder mobility, so it's a much more subtle movement for me. An invitation, if you like, to put a bend in that left knee, step your left foot behind your right. All right, so this thing I've been experimenting with, I've been training into gravity yoga. And gravity yoga is actually a discipline that I'll be adding to my schedule in the fall. Gravity yoga and yin yoga are not the same thing, but they have some similarities. And of the similarities among them are long, deep holds. And it's mostly a mat-based practice. It's not a dynamic moving practice. But among the differences, gravity yoga is done at the threshold of pain. So rather than 4 to 6 on a continuum of sensation from 0 to 10, with gravity yoga, we shoot for a 7 or an 8. So it's more into the pain threshold. And there's a very specific down-regulating breath that's used to calm the central nervous system, which when we get into that pain instinct, tends for us to go into fight or flight. So the breath is inhale through the nose for a count of 4, exhale through the mouth for a count of 8, maybe making a ha sound, open mouth. All right, check in with your body. Notice your current level of sensation. If you'd like to add sensation, you walk the fingers of your right hand further over to your right. As long as, remember, the goal is to draw the left shoulder back behind you. That will add sensation. So it could be that you achieve that more leaving the left hand under your shoulder. But you could also come up onto, say, cupcake fingers, walk that hand forward, or take a half bind behind your low back. But eye on the prize, keep drawing that left shoulder back behind you. Right, so now I'm at a level of sensation that's higher than typical for me for yin. So probably closer to a 7. So I'm going to add that down regulating breath. So if you'd like to join me in this, inhale through your nose for the count of 4. Exhale through the mouth for a count of 8. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 8. So just a short time to practice that here. Left hand under your left shoulder, roll over onto your belly. We're going to set up for the other side. You guys stay right here. I'm just going to shift my position for demonstration purposes. All right, go post your left arm up to the side. And then right arm under your right shoulder. Start pressing into the right hand, lift your right shoulder, maybe float it over your left. And just like the other side, invitation only if it serves you, to put a bend in that right knee. And step your right foot behind your left knee. So important to note, this is not a gravity yoga class. This is a yin class. So just having a comfortable natural breath and keeping your sensation in that threshold between discomfort and pain, 100% acceptable. But I offer you these principles. There are a few poses, and some of the shoulder openers are those for me, like this broken wing pose, that it would be, sometimes I feel like it would be useful for me to be able to go a little deeper into the sensation, and I could get more benefit from it. So using that down-regulating breath and adding more sensation, as long as where you're feeling the sensation is muscles and it's not in joints, I think we're good to go there. It's an option that you can experiment with in your practice. Right? If you want more sensation, walk the fingers of the left hand further to the left. Maybe do any kind of action that tracks that right shoulder back toward the back edge of your mat. Another difference between gravity yoga and yin yoga is, like, yin is often informed, the way that I was trained, I think of and teach yoga through the lens of the meridians of traditional Chinese medicine. That's how I sequence, how I plan classes. Whereas gravity yoga, it's really looking at making pretty fast changes to somebody's flexibility. And it really is just a physical practice. All right, so start to bring your right hand under your right shoulder, roll back over onto your belly. Ooh, maybe shake those arms out. And then however you want to get there, make your way onto your back. So again, just for demonstration purposes, I feel like it's a better angle. I'm going to change the orientation of head and feet for me, but you guys stay wherever it's comfortable for you. All right, once you're on your back, find a full body stretch first. Reaching the fingers long over your head, pressing the heels long below you. And then imagine that your body's a rubber band coming back into your natural shape after being stretched a little bit. Maintaining a little bit of that length, more of a natural shape, like a relaxed shape. Walk your feet over to the right. We're going to take Banana Asana. Just to the point where that left hip starts to lift up, and then that's probably plenty far enough. And then walk your hands off to the right as well. knowing that you're fine right now, you don't have to change anything. There's nothing wrong with where you are. If you open up some space in your body once more, two actions that can create more length along the left side of the body. One is to lift that left ankle and just hook it over your right. The other is to take your right hand, wrap it around that left wrist, and then draw your whole body further over to the right. So if there's a quintessential gallbladder meridian yin pose, to me, it's got to be this banana asana. So feeling all that space and length that we're creating on the left. The next one that we take, we'll do the other side of this, and then we're going to go into fallen sphinx. That also is one that to me is pretty gallbladder meridian intensive. So if you chose to cross that left ankle over your right, or take a little grip on your left wrist, release both of those, come back to center. Take another full body stretch, maybe noticing the difference in the length along the connective tissues between the left and right side of your body. And then walk your legs over to your left, walk your arms off to the left as well. Hello, Mia. No besitos for right now, baby. So make this banana shape with your body off to the left. Invitation to add sensation if your body calls for it. Maybe hooking your right ankle over your left, or maybe using your left hand to drag your right wrist, your right arm further to the left as well. So when I cued you for this, I cued you to lengthen over to the side until the hip and the shoulder on the opposite side that start to lift up. It should be clear and tell you that's a preference. It's not wrong to let the hip and shoulder lift up a little bit, and some people I know need to do that to get their target level of sensation. But I recommend if you have to lift those up, just place a rolled blanket or a bolster up under that lifted part of your body. Give yourself lots of support and care. Release your right ankle, your right wrist, come back into center. Take another full body stretch. You want to get to roll over onto your right side. And if you've not done this with me before, the cueing is a little different. Let's clear this block out of the way. So I'm going to cue you based on very specific parts of your mat just for clarity, but know that if you need to shuffle around your body position, make yourself comfortable in your practice. So take like a side forearm plank, right shoulder floating over your right elbow. And for now, start with the legs long, whole left leg floating over the right, and then take the left leg, step it forward. And then we don't say this often in yoga, but if you want to slump down into that right shoulder, even letting your right ear fold down to the right shoulder is fine. But our goal here is to lengthen out between the right armpit and the waist. So anything that you can do to create more space there. Now the left hand, that can stay right in front of you. You can leave it on your hip, or a teaser of where we have the option to go in a few moments. You could place it behind your low back. But I always visualize the shape of my rib cage here as being like a hammock, or if you picture like a big top tent, the way the canvas hangs down in between the wooden support struts. If you can create that kind of shape with your right rib cage. My canine companion this morning is Bella, the Irish Doodle. Bella's my grand dog. So my girlfriend, Letty, her daughter Carla, Bella's her dog. Such a sweet and inquisitive spirit. Right, so you could stay right here. Like, I don't know what's happening in your body, but I'm noticing still I'm creating more space along that right-hand side of my body. The other invitation is you can take that left hand forward and then slide your whole right arm forward. So you come down onto your right shoulder and then lengthen, drop the left hand back behind your lower back. Start folding that left shoulder back down toward the earth behind you. All right, so my left shoulder is elevated over the mat, probably 6 or 7 inches or more. Right, so it's more comfortable for me to keep my left hand right on my left hip, or you might fold your left hand into your low back. But if you've got more torso and shoulder mobility, it might feel really nice to be able to lengthen that left arm long behind you. And I suspect that will add some sensation in this shape. If you notice, we changed the location of the sensation, and it's out of the right rib cage, and now the quadratus lamborum, these little triangle-shaped muscles on either side of the low back, are twisting in opposite directions. Bring your left hand back to your lower back. Start lifting your left shoulder back up, float it over your right. Step your left leg back over your right. We're just going to take this same pose on the other side. You can just roll over onto the other side just for demonstration purposes. I'm going to change the orientation of my body on the mat. Remember, starting with this sort of forearm side plank. And then stepping that right leg forward. Sorry, Bella. Invitation, if it serves you, to slump down into that left shoulder. And you have all kinds of options with that right hand and the right arm. Good girl, Mama. All right, friends, you can stay right here the whole time. 4, right hand comes in front of your body. Slide that whole left forearm forward. And then right hand to your low back. Start folding that right shoulder back behind you. Invitation to keep that right hand at your low back or lengthen that right arm out long behind you. So this sequence, this gallbladder sequence today, it wasn't intentionally a low back class. And for people with soft tissue related low back pain, chronic pain, I think this will be a really helpful practice. From my perspective, and at least in my experience, as far as soft tissue goes, there are a couple of primary culprits that really can contribute to low back pain for people. One, the psoas, today's practice doesn't do too much to address. We can do that with you, but we would include some different poses. But the other, the quadratus lamborum muscle that I talked about, we're twisting those in opposite directions right now on either side of our low back, is another culprit. And when one of those starts firing and activating, one of them is more stable, the other one is more mobile. The one that's more stable tends to tense up and fire, and it's really debilitating. So a lot of the poses today to lengthen out the side plane of the body, I think will help with that. Bring your right hand back to your low back. Start lifting your right shoulder up, float it over your left. Step your right leg back. Find any resting shape. I'm just going to come onto my mat with the soles of my feet on the mat, feet out nice and wide, full mat width apart, and let my knees collapse into center, rest upon one another. But this is my resting shape. It doesn't have to be yours. You can do any position on your seat, your belly, your back, or your side, someplace where you can find some ease. There's no great rush, friends, but from your resting shape, use good body mechanics and then make your way into a seated position. And I'd like you may not choose to use them, but I'd like you to have either a bolster or a couple of folded blankets and 1 or 2 blocks. And we're going to go into shoelace or square. And I'm going to tell you, like, pretty candidly that it's going to be square for me. I can demo the shoelace, sort of. So I'm going to place a bolster under my seat. The demo shoelace, I need the narrow edge of the bolster. If you like shoelace, point your right knee forward, draw that right heel under your left thigh, and then wrap eagle legs if you can. Wrap your left knee over your right, and then draw that left heel back under your right hip. Right? And for some bodies, you could stay right here and you could be doing the work. For some bodies, you could even fold forward. And this is not a particularly friendly shape in my body. So I'm going to take square pose. In square pose, I'll start right shin parallel to the top edge of my mat. Left shin floating over my right. Now, I got a little gap here. You could do a couple of things. First of all, there's nothing wrong with that gap. If I take this ankle to the top of my knee, that gap will be even bigger. You could tuck a block in here. Here's another, I learned this from my first yin teacher. Another great strategy is to set a block on top and then set your forearm, and this will traction a little bit of gentle pressure. Drawing the left knee closer down to the right. But do take your time and prop up and make this pose fit your body rather than trying to shoehorn your body into some shape that may or may not be a fit. We're going to start to transition to the other side. So if you're interested in that shoelace pose, this time left knee would point forward, left heel under your right hip, eagle legs, wrapping your right knee over your left, right heel draws back under your left hip. Or for me, square. Left shin parallel to the top edge of your mat. Right heel, right ankle stack over the right knee. You see, I have a less generous gap right here under the knee, so a block won't quite fit. But this option here to place a block on top of that right knee and add the weight of my forearms, it's just gently tractioning it down, but it does make a difference. And after a few minutes seated in this shape, that knee will probably come down to the ankle. This is not a super comfortable pose for me. So our threshold of sensation of 4 to 6 for discomfort, but not quite pain, I'm at the very top of that right now. This, like, we all have different bodies with different ranges of motions and different strengths and different areas where we're challenged, and they're all okay, right? And they're also well suited. They're also all well suited for yoga, I think. So not everybody is well suited for every style of yoga, but there is a style of yoga for everybody, and multiple styles of yoga for most bodies. If you think about all the beautiful and amazing things that our bodies do for us without us really having to ask very much, it's miraculous. We get so fixed and focused on what our bodies won't do for us, and sometimes we forget to have some gratitude for all the wonderful things that they will do. And start to unwind from your choice of shoelace or square. From here, we're going to go into dragonfly. Now, I'm going to do this on the wall, but if you choose, you could also take the legs out nice and wide. And you can stay right here. This is dragonfly. You could also start to fold your chest down toward the earth. For some bodies, the chest will just come all the way down, right? Or anywhere in between. You could use blocks or bolsters to support your forehead. You could have your elbows and your inner thighs, your thumbs and urinary bladder too, right? If you look at my body, you can see this is not a really friendly shape for this here, but let me show you one that is, where I get sensation in the target area. So if you scoot your bum up to a wall and then rotate back, take the heels out nice and wide. We have all the same sensation in the hamstrings and in the AB abductors, but my whole spine is supported on the earth. So this is a really nice alternative for some bodies. Check in with your body. Notice where you're at in terms of sensation. And if you've opened up some space and your body wants more, if you're seated on the earth, you can take your heels out wider. You could also fold your head or your heart closer down toward the earth. If you're choosing to do this up against the wall, you could draw your heels wider apart and further down the wall. But be really honest with yourself about where you're at. I've got plenty of sensation right here. For me right now, the appropriate choice is to change nothing.
Whatever version of this you're in, it's time to ease out of the shape. So if you're seated, maybe gently start walking your hands back up so you can lift your torso and your abdomen up. You've got your legs up against the wall. Maybe add a little water element to the knees. And draw the heels together in the center until you can roll off onto the side. And then from here, any final resting shape can be in your seat, your belly, your back, or your side. Choose a shape that allows you to completely relax.
Begin to draw some deeper breaths. Feeling your body coming back to life after this time you've taken the rest. And if your body calls for movement, you could begin to reanimate your body with small movements. Wiggling your fingers or your toes. Maybe rotating your chin from shoulder to shoulder. If larger movements would feel good as well, invitation to go bigger, rotating your hands at the wrists, your feet at the ankles. We're taking another full body stretch. Pull off onto either side into a fetal position. Take a few moments, 3 or 4 breaths, process this experience of the last hour. Check in and notice how you're feeling. And press yourself up into a seated position with your legs crossed, eyes could be gently closed, they could be open with a soft gaze. You can do anything that you like with your hands. Thank you, dear friends, once again for the opportunity to guide you through your practice. May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be safe, and may you know peace. Invitation to draw your thumbs to the space between your eyebrows. Blessings to you and your family. And that concludes our practice for today. Thanks, friends. Have an amazing day today.